And welcome to hour number 3. Dave Sussman here in the chair at Real Side Radio. You can find us at therealside.com, 855-732-5563 if you'd like to enjoying the conversation. And what a conversation it is. And I know that the last segment I went off on a total rant screaming about the media because, quite frankly, they are not doing their job, darn it. They are not informing you, the American consumer who wants to learn about what is going on. They are only trying to create their own narrative and then fulfill that narrative. And the question is, well, yeah, Fox News gets 3 million viewers. MSNBC and CNN get much less than that. There's 325 million people living in this country. There's got to be alternative voices out there. There's got to be alternative sources where you don't feel like you are being pipered off a cliff of this leftist ideology today that is being shoved down your throat, foie gras style. Well, one of the things that I do at America's Voice News is bring you that alternative. But a good friend of mine, an American entrepreneur, is starting up something which I'm really excited about for him and for the country. And that is Kent Emmons, who's starting up a brand new network we want to talk about real quickly. Kent, he founded the All Comedy, All Time Radio Network. He's been a featured guest on Fox News and MSNBC, and he is also the father of Modern Family's actress Aubrey Emmons. You know her. My son has become really good friends with her. Welcome, my good friend Kent. How are you?
Sussman, it is great to be here with you, man. How's it going?
We're doing really well, except if we want to turn on the news and watch the frustration of exactly, I mean, let me just say this. I was doing 2 hours of news this morning, America's Voice Live, and we were talking about the Inspector General Michael Horowitz's testimony, and CNN, I don't know if you realize this, CNN and MSNBC were only coming in and showing the Democrats asking questions of Horowitz and basically going to panels while the Republicans were speaking. Can you believe this?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. But you know what? That's kind of what they do. They spoon feed their audience. Sadly, it happens on both sides. It just happens that this particular one was outrageous. I mean, absolutely outrageous. And to take that kind of testimony and hide it from their viewers. I mean, obviously, I don't know that their viewers have the highest IQ anyway. But you take a look at that type of thing, and you go, "Wow, no wonder they're low information voters."
Yeah, and
for the most part,
we
need to make them high information voters.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I wanted to take this discussion with you, because I think our viewers, our listeners that are listening to this across 53 stations now across the fruited plain, they want information. They don't want to be told what to think. They want to. I always have the analogy. I'm not in the job of leading a horse to water and making them drink. My job is to let the horse realize that it's thirsty, and then what the horse will do on its own. That's what you're trying to do now with Crave News, right?
That's what we are doing. And first, let me say there's a lot of folks that kind of paved the way for this, and you're one of those guys because of your, no BS approach to actual news. I've seen you come in, analyze stories, and rip both sides apart, getting to the truth. So I don't see you. I know that we both tend to be right of center, but I don't see you as this crazy biased guy that's out there just spewing stuff. I love how you break it down on whiskey politics. Of course, I love whiskey politics, but I mean,
thank you, good sir.
Compared, of course, I think somebody tried to knock you off over what's that liberal network, Air America or Hot Air America, whatever it is. They tried to knock you off. Did you know about this?
What was that?
With a show called. No, it was Whiny Politics, and everybody, we assumed we were going to be drinking. What turned out is they were just on there whining all the time. That's all they did. While Hillary Clinton got sloshed on Chardonnay, and she focus grouped reasons why she lost the election. So she's down to number 974 on reasons. Nothing's sticking yet.
This is for folks. And first of all, tell us a little bit. We got a couple of minutes before our first break with you here, but tell us a little bit about what is Crave News and what's coming up here.
One of the real issues that the Republican Party has, or just common sense people in general, and by the way, there are a lot of wonderful, great, moderate, classic liberal Democrats out there as well.
Absolutely.
But one of the big issues that we have, one of the real problems that we've got, is we're losing that common sense touch with the younger audience. And of course, me running comedy networks all these years and stuff like that, we served the younger audience. And where we're losing those votes, if you take a look at it, it's all in the younger crowd. We're not losing the minorities necessarily. We're not losing the suburban women, like they say. We're losing in that younger crowd, and that declines and declines and declines. I was at the Republican Governors Association conference a couple of weeks ago. I saw some numbers that were staggering, and it all came back to that younger crowd. And it's because they're getting their news. First of all, the right is not putting out anything that really appeals to them. It's not edgy. It's not fun. It's not considered cool or hip like the left does. The left owns literally 99% of the news message getting out there to the younger crowd.
Right.
When Liz Winstead, my buddy Liz, who started the Daily Show, started it, she didn't start it as a liberal, forum. She started it as a fun, interesting show. But as everything has gone left and left and left, and Hollywood has really gone left, you've got, Daily Show.
Right,
You've got, all the nighttime talk shows. You've got Vice News, for instance, massive company, all left-leaning. It's a bunch of guys on there smoking pot and giving their lefty opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not news. It's just lefty opinion.
Let's get into this after the break, because we're coming up to hard break. This is our short segment, and then the next one will go longer with you. And I want to hear about, how we answer everything that we're seeing right now in the media, where people are just being drowned to death with ideology that's coming out and being screamed at by pundits and such. And want to find out why the answer is with what it is that you guys are doing and focusing on that younger demographic. We got Ken Emmons with us here at Real Side Radio. I'm Dave Sussman. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break. By sitting in the chair. I love radio. I do TV every day, but there's just something free about radio. And our guest right now, Ken Emmons, an American entrepreneur. He goes way back in media, and he's done Time Radio Network, comedy, and he's been on Fox News and MSNBC. And his new network, which is launching very soon, you're hearing it here first, folks, at least on radio, and that is Crave News, and that is Ken Emmons. My good friend, how are you?
Hey, Dave, great to be here with you. Love it.
So,
by the way, you're a news guy. I don't know if you follow breaking news while you're there in the studio. Do you get the breaking news as it comes in? Because I just found a story. It's kind of crazy. These investigators in Russia have established a pattern of Adam Schiff's behavior. Apparently, with all of this stuff going on, all of his people, he's been promising and telling everybody, I've got the goods on Trump. I've got the goods. We're going to get him this time. Gonna get him. We're gonna nail him. And of course, it's disappointing for his followers all the time. Apparently, this goes all the way back to when he first got married. I guess he would come home and sit on the end of the bed, tell his wife how good it was going to be, and then nothing happened.
Wah,
So
wah. Sad
Yeah,
trombone. Sad
Thank
trombone.
Thank you kindly.
Breaking news
Yes.
from Ken Emmons, folks. And this is what you're going to be getting from Crave News, but it's not going to be done with an ideological bent. Okay, so for our listeners across the fruited plain on 53 stations here at Salem Radio Network and GCN, tell us about Crave News, Kent.
Again, we were talking earlier before the break. Crave News is one of these media outlets that is needed badly. Again, just to kind of recap, the only place the right or center-right, or even the moderate left, the only place people are losing, that we're losing, is in the younger demographic, that 18 to 34-year-old demographic, because they're all getting their news from social media. They're getting it from much hipper, considered, quote-unquote, hipper or funnier and more interesting news sources than the right puts out. And, 99% of the media, and that's not an exaggeration, 99% of the media that hits the younger audience is, they're Hollywood. It's left-leaning, very, very left-leaning stuff. And that's not a conspiracy. That just is what it is. They own it. So, Fox News is wonderful, and I love Fox News, but their average age is 68, and I love those guys, and they're great at babysitting our grandparents and doing what they do, but we're not going to win hearts and minds just by that. So we've actually got to go out there and really bring these folks over and get them into the real news cycle, not crazy right-wing leaning stuff, just the truth. Just bringing the truth and making it entertaining, making it fun, and that's what we're doing.
And you're doing it in a really creative way, so you're not just sitting there looking at newsreaders or pundits screaming at each other like they have on the news networks, but you're doing it more, and this is something that I like to do at Whiskey Politics, is more of a conversation, right?
It is. It's a fun conversation. It's headlines on the top and bottom of the hour, fun, interesting, and then and guests. It's almost like hot talk radio, although it's a digital television network.
Right.
Guest, it's in a talk format. So you don't have a bunch of screaming right, screaming left. You don't have that going on. You've got fun, interesting, hip conversations with cool celebrities and politicians, comedians. A lot of people giving a whole different take on the news, but always keeping the news the truth.
Yeah.
That's one thing that kind of drives me crazy is, we said we were going to be doing a news network, and the first thing people would ask is, was it going to be right or left? And I've really never understood why news should be defined by right or left. It should just really be distinguished by the truth. And you can have a lot of fun bringing the truth. And that's what we're going to do.
You talk about it from the perspective of, is it going to be right or is it going to be left? We're living in a divide today where it's a dichotomy. You have two different worlds. And if you just sit there and you watch MSNBC and CNN all day, your world is so much different than somebody that's just only watching Fox News all day. And I like to go across both sides to see what everybody's saying and try to formulate my own opinions. But you're going after something different here. You're going after a younger crowd, 18 to 35. It's a great demographic for advertisers, obviously. But a lot of those, let's call them kids, not to disrespect anybody, but you get to a certain age and everybody under the age of 40 is. But when we talk about that demographic, what are we seeing in this country right now regarding people being involved? You mentioned here real quickly, you're going to be down at Mar-a-Lago next week at the Turning Point USA Summit, which is, you guys are having 350 people there. You're being very much involved in what the younger generation is saying. How important is that for the future of our country?
Well, it's really important. And, you've got, again, with 99%, and again, not an exaggeration, 99% of the news that's going out there is coming from the left. And it's for the younger folks, for the younger audience. It's going, from the left, and it's creating more and more left. So you've got this massive, massive, massive pipeline. Not even just the news. I mean, you think about it. They start with Disney cartoons, and work their way into kindergarten, into the school system. Then you get into all the other networks that do those kids, and you've got this unbelievable left wing. I always hate to say indoctrination because it was one of those overused words, but it sort of is.
Yeah.
And by the time they hit the news cycle, they're getting it from fake news sources.
Yeah.
And so again, this is the most important demographic we can focus on.
In our last couple of minutes
folks
here,
out there,
real quickly, because I just want to say in our last couple of minutes here, tell folks where they can learn, because you guys haven't officially launched yet. So tell folks where they can learn more about it and sign up and do everything they need to do to get you on their TVs.
You know what? Honestly, Dave, as you know, we haven't even announced it. I'm not denying it. We just haven't announced it. You've been in our studios where those are being built out. We've got great studios here in Los Angeles. The next set of studios will be built in Nashville. So we've got, a fantastic crew, fantastic lineup that'll be announced. And, Crave News, CRAVENEWS.com. Keep an eye on it there. And we'll probably make an announcement right after the first of the year.
Folks, watch for this because, first of all, I've gotten to know Kent over the past few years. He's, first of all, a genuine guy. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But everything he does, everything he touches, everything he invests his time and energy into, it happens. And you were with National Lampoon, right? Remind me.
No. There's a big distinguisher. There's a National Lampoon, the film brand, and couple of yahoos had that. We had that they were not part of us, and then there was the National Lampoon radio brand that we had. So we had the National Lampoon Radio Network, our own XM channel, and very separate companies, and really had a great time with that brand. Again, not a real relevant brand to a younger audience, but it was a cool brand. Our target audience was 35-54, and we did great with that.
Hey, Kent, thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, and we'll remind everybody where they can find you when you guys launch, and I'll be seeing you real soon, my friend. Thank you so much, and best,
Dave.
and enjoy the holidays. Talk to you soon, Kent. Thanks so much. And, folks, I'll be back to wrap it up with the final half hour here at Real Side Radio. Don't go away.